Close to Home is a co-production of PBS 39, Lehigh Valley Health Network, and the Catherine Boulay Foundation.
When I first was diagnosed, I learned of my cancer when I was driving home from work. So that put me in pretty much of a shock scenario, and I was happy I made it home.
When I was 33 years old, I was diagnosed with clear cell renal cell carcinoma following a routine blood test for a routine procedure.
I never thought of cancer because no one in my family had experienced any kind of cancer, any type of cancer.
That was the day that I thought that when you had skin cancer, they just cut it off and you went along your way.
I was diagnosed just over 8 years ago, so I hope to procrastinate just long enough for them to come up with the cure.
I was diagnosed while I was pregnant on my very first ultrasound for our first child.
I was aware of this because my father had died with it, and then I was aware that my brother had it and had the surgery.
When I first heard the diagnosis, I didn't know what to think.
I've come to realize that life can change in an instant. We're all here to support each other and to make each other's stories and lives richer and happier.
A cancer diagnosis does not have the same meaning as it once did. Hello, I'm Rick Boulay, and this is Close to Home. I've been an oncologist for 15 years and treated thousands of patients. But there were things that I didn't truly understand until cancer came into my home. When my wife was diagnosed with cancer, I learned at a different level the power of shared stories. In this program, you'll hear the voice of experience from physicians and cancer survivors sharing what they've learned from their journey through cancer.
I was diagnosed with chronic myelogenous leukemia in June of 2008. When we first received the diagnosis, my husband and I were very frightened. My husband's uncle had died of the same type of leukemia.
One of the overwhelming first emotions when you hear about a cancer diagnosis is fear. Am I going to be okay? Has my cancer spread? Is my cancer going to come back? What's going to happen with my job? What's going to happen with my family? With earlier diagnosis and better treatment techniques, more than 50% of patients are cured of their cancers.
Cancer has been part of my story, but I am more than a cancer survivor. I am thriving. I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm an advocate. It's not who I am. It's just something I've experienced.
We often think of cancer as a journey. A beginning, a middle, and an end.
I love to play soccer. I watch a lot of movies. Really like a typical 18-year-old sports, school, friends.
Ryan came home over a year ago after a pickup soccer game with pain.
I thought it was muscular. I play a lot of sports. I played soccer all year round. Just had pain in my hip.
Throughout my career, I have seen the cancer journey manifest along many consistent pathways.
While he was doing physical therapy, he was getting worse and worse and worse, and I knew something wasn't right.
After the surgery, when they did pathology on what they took out, they found out that it was cancerous. It was hard.
Cancer hits close to home for most American families. The statistics are staggering. Cancers in this country affect 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women over the course of their lifetime.
I've been through a lot, and I still have a normal life, still go to school. It may be with a different class, but
we've had incredible community support from our church, support from our family members and our friends.
As a physician, you have your statistics, your latest studies, but when it comes to an individual patient, you don't quite know exactly what's going to happen. Everybody's situation is unique. There hasn't been a single cure for cancer, but there may be a million cures that are individualized.
One of the things I've learned about myself over these 7+ years, it's not just me that has cancer, it's my family.
These journeys are different for everyone. So my biggest advice to patients in the beginning part of their cancer journey is to be flexible.
This disease, melanoma, has impacted the path that my wife must travel too.
When you're the wife of someone that has cancer, it makes you actually be a lot less selfish and more selfless.
It's taken our marriage many, many levels past where I ever thought it could possibly go.
There's been a number of studies that the survivorship of patients is higher if they at least have one close advocate, either a family member, friend, that can help them with their journey as opposed to trying to do it alone.
You really need everybody to be on your side, and that's what gives people a fighting chance.
Having cancer has taught me many things. I thought it was helpful to let everyone know about my diagnosis so that they can feel comfortable. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, but one of the key things that certainly helped me was to be real positive and to hang around positive people.
We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. But in most cases, we know that tomorrow will be here. So at the beginning of your journey, set your horizons short. Make each day count.
It's not the end of the world. I would never say, why me? That is so dumb. You know, because you live on this earth, and whatever comes down the pike, you hope you don't get it. But if you get it, you deal with it.
Everyone's goals along their cancer journey are different. How you choose to participate in that journey is all yours.
When facing a serious cancer diagnosis, a very life-threatening cancer, patients may ask themselves, what do I have to live for? It varies from patient to patient as to what the answer will be for them. But I think it's critically important that they find an answer in order to motivate them through what's going to be a very difficult journey.
One of the things that you have to prepare for is that part of this journey will be very much on your own. There are things that you can share, but there is a part of that experience that you'll never be able to communicate. People going through cancer need to be prepared to have sojourners accompany them along the way, but also to recognize and to, in some way, affirm the fact that part of this journey is done solo.
The exact moment I was sitting in a room that was bubblegum pink, I remember it completely. And the doctor was trying to explain all of the science to me, and I'm not a scientist. So I asked him for the bottom line. What was the bottom line? And he said, you have leukemia.
Nearly every cancer journey begins in fear. Overcoming your fear will help you see far more clearly where you want to go.
I was diagnosed with a lower level of cancer, but a very aggressive grade. So that in itself was pretty unsettling.
At that point, they decided that it was something definitely serious and that I needed to go into surgery.
They removed the mass, and then it was officially diagnosed as an immature teratoma. It's a type of ovarian cancer.
I was shocked in the sense of being so young, having two young boys, a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old at the time.
How do we tell a 9-year-old, Mom might not make it past 3 months?
So then your brain kind of kicks in and says, okay, what do I have to do? My son's birthday's coming up. Can I make it to his birthday? What else I can do for my kids? What can I do for my husband? What can I do for the people at work?
When I was first diagnosed and I realized that this wasn't just going to be a quick fix, I spent quite a bit of time in some dark places, mentally and emotionally.
My oncologist told my wife that the treatment that I would be undergoing would last from 6 months to 3 years. And then I would start circling the drain.
I was definitely afraid a lot of times. I mean, you know, if the cancer had spread, we wouldn't be having any more children.
I just assumed that with my diagnosis that I would have 6 months to live.
I mean, of course, you have the fear of death, you know.
Of not being there for my daughters.
We worry about the pain, we worry about the suffering, we worry about our families.
When I have my moments when I feel the fear or the anxiety, I just remember his strength and courage and positive attitude, and that's what helps me to focus on the positive.
All I knew about leukemia was you got it and you died. I didn't know the truth, which is you get it and you can live a very full and happy life.
Cancer is not a death sentence. Cancer has successful treatments. None of us makes it out of here alive. But it's my job and your job for us to work together to make sure it's not anytime soon and it's not from this diagnosis, if at all possible.
To transform fear into purpose, you need to educate yourself and understand your disease.
You need to advocate for yourself. You need to know the facts. You need to understand your disease. You need to understand how it works. You need to understand the side effects of your drugs. If you don't know these things, you can't work with your providers as effectively.
Cancer is not contagious, but fear is.
There's a lot of humor in the cancer experience. My cancer support group has a lot of laughs.
It doesn't have to take away your sense of humor, and it doesn't have to take away your joy for life.
I have said it is what it is. I can't change that, but I can change my attitude and how I feel.
The language that's associated with cancer is very confrontational, battle. I'm battling cancer, I'm fighting cancer, I've been struck down with cancer. If you die from cancer, really looks like you've lost the battle, you've given up the fight. I think that as cancer is being redefined, that these words should be softened.
The good news that's available today is that there's hope, there's opportunity. With the new technologies that we see in the future and with personalized medicine, our hope is that there'll be a cure for cancer and we'll be able to wipe out this word from our dictionary.
After surgery, we were told that I was a stage 4 ovarian cancer. My husband was told that I might have 3 months to live. The pain is difficult. There is no two ways about it. I lost my hair, my eyebrows, everything. At that point, our son was 9 years old, and Dr. Boulay was kind enough to actually take our son Carter for breakfast and gave him all the information this little boy needed to be able to understand, come back to the hospital room, and literally curl up in bed with me and said, "It's okay, Mommy. I know where to hug you. Dr. Boulay said I could hug you." And from that day on, my husband would bring him to the hospital a little earlier before he dropped him off to school so that he could see me and visit with me.
Bring your children along with you. We are all experiencing this life together, and cancer diagnosis is just part of the story.
He wouldn't give up. He made sure that I had my slippers on, and he made sure that I started walking. And the day that we made it around the whole wing of the floor where I was, everybody clapped, and I was the first one in tears because I couldn't believe that little boy never gave up on me, so I couldn't give up on him.
So much data and so many clinical trials reveal that a positive outlook has a direct impact on how you come through your cancer journey.
What happened has already happened, and there's nothing you can really do to change that. So you got to look for the future and look forward to what you can improve and what you can do, because that's really what's going to matter. That's really what's going to keep you happy when you're going through this difficult time in your life.
You have to have hope. There were times when I felt like that was maybe, the most important thing to have.
Take it day by day and let the days take care of themselves. You are in control of your life and not just giving it away.
You take it one little bit at a time and you can make it. I'm not saying that cancer is a great experience, but a lot of times is how you choose to look at your experiences and your challenges. It's not why me, is what can I do with this? How can I turn this around? My life is really growing in stages. And yes, cancer was there in my life, but guess what? It's gone. It's gone.
The cancer journey is difficult. There's absolutely no denying that. But still, there is a lot to celebrate.
If I was able to survive 11 years ago, think about what could happen to you today.
Technology has come so far, so improved.
My hip replacement was a one-of-a-kind surgery. From a medical standpoint, I think it's only going to get better.
What we see today is different from 5 years ago and almost completely different from 10 years ago. In the future, it'll move faster.
I realized that it could have been a lot worse. Ultimately, I could have died. But I realized that, I'm not the only one who has cancer. There's tons of people out there who get diagnosed every day. And some have it a lot worse than me.
Your struggle means something. Your struggle means that out of this, you're going to become a better fighter, a stronger person. Your character is going to grow.
Hope is a force inside us that drives us toward our goal.
To challenge, an instinct to fight, an instinct to press on.
And you can never take away somebody's hope, and you can never underestimate the power of human will.
11 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, and at this point of 75 years old, I feel great.
One of the things that illness teaches us is that we need each other.
My brother took me to the hospital with another friend, and they sat there and waited until I came out of surgery, and I think my brother was quite concerned, about my welfare, so he stayed until I came out of the operation from recovery. And he was glad to see me, and I was glad to see him. I was kind of set back by the fact that he stayed there with a friend.
When I see caregivers care for our patients, it truly is one of the most amazing things to watch and to be a part of.
The gifts of those relationships are the very best gifts that we have, and they're life changers.
There's something about someone seeing you at that point in your life that's just, you have nothing left of yourself. You're laying on your bathroom floor, you have no hair, your body is betraying you in every way you possibly could imagine. For that person to come in and to pick you up off the floor and to push you along and tell you that you cannot quit and you will not quit and you will go on and everything's going to be okay.
A cancer diagnosis is an opportunity to really learn to care for another human being.
You have people that surround you at that time that make a difference in your life as you're making a difference in theirs.
Caregiving is an experience helping somebody go through something that's very difficult, and it is amazingly appreciated. If you give it time to sink in, there's a real beauty in making somebody else feel good. It's just a terrific feeling for me, and I hope it is for them.
It's not just the doctors that are the caregivers, it's the people that clean the exam rooms, it's the people that welcome you to the appointment, it's the people that file the paperwork, it's the people that serve the meals, it's the people that smile at you. It is amazing what a smile will do.
If you know someone that has cancer, you may be thinking, what do I do? What do I say? It's really just to be there for the individual so that they know they have support.
Because there's never a right word to say to someone who who has cancer, except for maybe I love you. And letting them know that, you know, you shouldn't give up.
There's a tremendous amount of joy in connecting with someone at such a deep level. Just being with them, sitting with them, the gift of your time and your friendship is so important.
This time, this effort isn't given lightly. This is a true labor of love.
And that's what I think love is all about, is people helping people, people being there for you when you need them most.
Every day in my practice, I see a patient with a newly diagnosis of a cancer, and I could see the fear, despair in their eyes. In those moments, my words are this: you're fine. We have a solution, and we're gonna walk together.
For my peace of mind, I think I have found that there is nothing that comes close to prayer. Just quiet time with God every day.
Our research tells us that in cancer survivorship, spirituality is an incredible healer.
I think hope needs, in my estimation, needs to be blended with faith, because hope in and of itself isn't the full picture. But I think it's the faith where you realize you're not in control all the time.
We're all human beings. We're born to have something broken inside of us. So the best way of preparing ourselves is not to be in fear, but really rely on something much bigger that gives us the sense of grace.
The internal journey, the changes that we make, are perhaps the most profound changes that we undergo as cancer survivors.
Well, the inner journey changed me in profound ways. It made me give up a lot of the pettiness. I find that being cheerful brings it back in amazing ways.
You certainly refocus, you look to the positive, to the light at the end of the tunnel where you're going to be healed.
And there are times where you come to a place where you don't have the strength, where you don't have the energy, where you don't have the capacity. And even your caregivers may be burning the candle at both ends. I think about being in the center of God's will. We may call it peace. The Greek community in the early church called it makarios, which means to be where you need to be. There is a certain stillness, and all you're left with is God's presence. But even that, I think, is a gift.
To know that, no matter what happens at the end, we're going to be okay, because we've got faith, and God will be there to get us through.
We shouldn't go through a cancer diagnosis without learning from others who've been there.
Just navigating a complex healthcare system is nearly impossible by yourself. Many people who pass through the journey of cancer come out of this with a wisdom that they're often very happy to share with others who are just starting that journey.
I know my son better than anyone else, and I knew that his pain wasn't right and it wasn't normal. I felt that was my job, was to advocate for him any way, on any level that I could.
I think the best way to be a good advocate is to listen and not be afraid to stand up and say, this is the right thing, especially when the going gets tough, to really start to think about how to help make the best decisions.
It's important to trust your instincts and to keep asking questions.
We talk about 3 types of advocacy: self-advocacy, advocating for another on their cancer journey, or advocating for the cancer community in general.
There's so many ways you can help in our community. 23 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I wanted to help in some way. So a group of women got together and we decided to create the Women's 5K Classic.
It's really wonderful to see patients who gain strength from their journey through cancer and then pay that forward.
I've learned a lot about hope and faith from my patients, whether we're fighting cancer today or not. I think hope sustains all of us.
My mother's diagnosis has a lot to do with this. I'm just really proud of her and what she's done for our community.
Advocates in cancer survivorship are those folks who push the boundaries, who help cancer patients and survivors get their needs met.
That's an incredible gift, to know that you're not walking alone, to know that so many people are striving and advocating and pursuing a healing that goes beyond medical capacity.
I think it's the silver lining. It's a benefit for patients to give back and feel that they can help somebody else along the way, whether it be support or participating in trials that may benefit other patients, and being able to make a difference in the life of somebody else at a later time.
My hair came back all white. I kept it white for a while, and it was really, really short. And it was okay. It was more like a reminder.
I consider myself not healed, not recovered, but a new and improved version of me.
This experience makes my home very dear to me. It makes me appreciate things in life more than I did before, things that I had taken for granted.
It's hard to predict. I mean, it could go still cancer-free, being able to walk and run, continue to look for the positives. It's not easy to do at first, but after a while of being around people who are continually caring for you, I'm ultimately a different person now.
A better husband, a better father, a better son, a better friend, a better human being, absolutely, because of that journey.
I mean, I think life is short, but I think we all learn how we can help each other.
Through the love of my wife, I've learned to enjoy life again.
It's not about fighting cancer and beating cancer, it's about how you live and the manner in which you do it. So fight, live, and enjoy each day for the times that we have while we're here.
And even if you don't have cancer, go out and do the things that you want to do, because you never know.
Somehow, if you don't lose hope, you'll see the positive part of cancer.
There can be joy after cancer. There is certainly hope throughout the cancer journey, and even in your own home, you can find those gifts as well.
This experience can start with a terrible fear, but it can change into something beautiful. It can change into something meaningful. It changes you. It should change you.
And one of the great lessons from this experience is that we are in this together.
Trust me, there is always something to live for.
You know, life is life, and it's all about what you make it and what you put in it, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. Come on, you know. That's my philosophy for the day.